Well, we in our class are nearing the phases of deciding which organizations we're going to donate to, and you have plenty of experience in doing that. One of my top concerns is how to manage risk. So in the field of philanthropy, maybe even more so than the field of business, many individuals and NGOs face failure in actually accomplishing their goals. How, when you give your money, do you assess these risks and take these risks into account when you donate?
I think you have to be willing to fail. And I'm a great believer, no matter what you're doing, that it's important to be bold and take risks. And to allow organizations that are doing, but you really, in looking at an organization and how you're going to give your money away, you have to evaluate, are they going to do a good job? Are these people who know how to manage the organization, do they know what they're doing? And do you feel comfortable making a commitment? But I still think you have to, that it's worth it taking risks. And actually, when Warren Buffett spoke to Bill and Melinda, one of the famous things he said is, don't just go to safe places, really tackle tough issues. And if you're going to tackle tough issues, you've got to take risks. So, what's your passion?
Well, one of the organizations that we're thinking about is called Mycelium School, and it is an organization, well, it is only just beginning, and the founder believes that in our current model for education today, we don't have enough emphasis on action, on actually doing things, putting our learned knowledge into action. So he wants to incorporate that into the field of social enterprise and create a school based on that philosophy. But it's never been done before. We don't know the person personally, and it's just, I think it's very hard to assess the success rate of an individual that we've never met. But I think if I were, single-handedly making the decision in the class, I would love to be able to give Mycelium School a chance.
Mm-hmm. Can you interview him on Skype?
We probably can. We would definitely try to do that, yeah. What would be some of the questions you would ask him?
Oh, I guess, what is his approach? How does he go, what is his strategic, does he have a strategic plan? Does he have a 3-year strategic plan? Is he looking long term? How does he see it evolving? Who are the other investors? Is he investing in it?
Mm-hmm.
How much weight do you put on the idea versus the talents of the person who's supposed to execute the idea?
I think I probably weigh them equally. The idea usually gets you involved, but the talents having strong management is really critical. Having somebody who really knows how to think and to act and to really move a project forward.
Would you agree with this statement? One of the things that you said, it seems radical, which is you have to be willing to take risks, you have to be willing to fail, and where I see it's not radical is from people who come out of a culture of innovation, people come out of technology. Mm-hmm. And so when we hear of people who have created great wealth in the technology sphere, they say similar things to what you just said. That is so important that if you're going to have an outlier response, you have to be willing to take risks, you have to be willing to fail. Or scientists say that you have to, it's not a negative thing, you just exclude that, it's information, you exclude that. But when you speak to other philanthropists who have been around in a more traditional or in an inherited wealth sort of context, there's a different level of timidity. And it's as if you get defunded if you fail because you should have all succeeded. But with the world's complex problems, I don't understand why your point of view isn't winning out over the other point of view. Because if you're not being innovative and willing to fail and fund people who are failing, you're not going to change the world.
I think it's really critical that you be willing to. I don't think of myself as a philanthropist. I have lots of passions, and as an art museum director and other things. Although, the family is, everybody is a philanthropist to some degree. But in the art museum world, I tell people, you've got to take risks, and you've got to be bold. And I think no matter what you do in life, really, taking risks, and when an opportunity presents it, seizing it and going with it is important. And I think in philanthropy, you have to be willing to let people fail.
Michael.
Thank you so much for coming.
No problem.
It's great to have you
That's
here.
fun.
So one of the premises of this class is the idea that a donor has taken $100,000 and allowed 25 different people to sort of make this decision rather than centralizing that decision with a single person. And I'm curious, what sort of, you're close to a foundation which is in many ways one of the most centralized giving sort of operations in the world. And I'm curious, what do you think? What are the advantages of having such a sort of a centralized model versus a more diffused, giving a lot of people the money to then give away type of approach?
Well, somehow you have to reach a focus.
Right.
And so I'm sure, how have you all been able to reach a focus?
We'll ultimately
still
find that
working
out on
on
Monday. I think that's something that we're processing a lot.
There are a lot
In
of
few days we make
passions
that
going on
decision,
right
so.
now.
That's what we're trying to figure out. It's very difficult.
I make decisions by myself, which I like, and not by committee. The foundation, they now are very targeted. They have global health,
Right.
they have global development, and in the U.S. education. And then Northwest giving is a small piece, and libraries are a small piece.
Okay.
You probably
so
have read about it, so.
Yeah, so there's different parts to that. But the ultimate, you were saying that the
different
ultimate
buckets.
decision kind of comes down to,
Bill
Right.
and Melinda
or do they delegate? Right, yeah.
do, but they read avidly.
Okay.
Young Bill, he reads voraciously, and he has a memory where he never forgets.
Okay.
And it could be HIV/AIDS, it could be osteoporosis, all these different things. He actually he'll on vacation take 14 books.
Wow. Okay.
And they're not books, not fiction that I would read. And he really learns about it. And he also hires people who are the best experts in their field.
Okay.
And it's really worked. And they had somebody in education. They weren't keen. It was on dividing large high schools into small high schools.
Right, yeah.
And they really decided that was not the best strategy, so they turned it over. They actually hired somebody new, and now they have different strategies.
Okay.
So, being willing to adapt and I think maintaining flexibility is really important. But it's interesting as to how 25 of you, how you come to a decision you're all happy with, and that encompasses. So, do you put it in different buckets? How are you dividing it up?
Well, at the moment, we divided into 3 focus groups. There's a global health group, a poverty alleviation group, and a social justice group. So that gave us at least somewhere to start on focusing which organizations we might want to consider funding. And now we're trying to narrow it down to a top list of ones that we're really passionate about, and then from there, the debating starts.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting also what you're not including.
Yeah.
So for me, the arts are really vital, and I'm going to just read you a quick quote, which actually comes from Michelle Obama, which the arts are not just a nice thing to have or to do if there is free time or if one can afford it. Rather, painting and poetry, music and fashion, design and dialogue, they all define who we are as a people and provide an account of our history for the next generation. And I think the arts, in terms of enabling us to explore who we are and who other people are, that they really also free you up to look at the world in different ways and to see different worlds. And also cultural organizations, many people assume that ticket sales pay for the entire organization, which is not true. And what do those organizations mean to community? And that's something to think of. And it may not affect you right now, but when you live in a community, think about what the arts and culture mean. Can you imagine Paris without the Louvre, New York without the Metropolitan? But these organizations, and it's the same thing for symphony orchestras, for everything, almost all of them had some meaningful impact on our lives, and to keep them going, it's worth thinking about some piece of philanthropic giving.